so good to be here today. I'm emotional. I'm just standing there listening to the introduction and just being filled with tremendous love, this loving presence that will be here, of course, with all of us today during the service and beyond the service, if each one of you are willing to open and just continue to allow a loving embrace, your own connection to yourself to continue to unfold and unravel for yourselves. And that's what this today is about. It's talking about, relationships, conscious relationship. And I think it's one of the most important subjects right now for us to be focused on in the planet. And I'm just grateful and honored to be here and touched. For many of you who have been with me before, you know I get emotional. But that's being alive, is feeling, and it's feeling the joy and the love and the presence of Mother Mary here with us today, the Christ energy, and the Pleiadians, of course, that are always beside me as I travel throughout the world. So it's a gift to be here this morning, sharing this moment with you. To me, it's a Holy Communion moment of us coming together and just really being here, just honoring the moment and honoring ourselves in the moment. And I sat quietly with the Pleiadians this morning, just focusing on what is the topic today, which to me was very important, and feeling out what they felt was the highest level of the message today for each one of us here on conscious relationship. And I looked at the energy that they wanted to bring here today, because of course I'm just the vessel. I'm still touched here. Because, the greatest message that they wanted to bring today is that if you're looking at relationship and conscious relationship at this incredibly spiritual time, this new dawning era that we're in the middle of, their focus for us is ourselves, because it's through a deep connection to our humanness and then our own unique God consciousness self that everything evolves through. That is the mission. This is why we are here at this time, is to build consciously this new relationship with ourselves first, and then look at relationships and pre-agreement energies with other human beings and family members, and then we take it further to the universal community of the God consciousness and our relationship with the divine connection of our God consciousness. So that's where I'm going to start the talk this morning, the focus on ourselves. And for many of you, I know that I have been through a tremendous enlightenment process since June. And in June, I was taken off planet and moved into a higher realm that I had never been before. And when I came back from that space of 9 hours off planet, coming back to myself, there was nothing I could recognize that was me. And in that energy, in that higher realm, that higher authority of energy that I went, I got to understand and have direct experience of new levels of ways of being, of who I was, not just in my spiritual nature, that natural reconnection, but who I am in my human part as well. And this is where I want to start the focus, because for many of us, it's grappling with the human aspect of ourselves and kind of pushing away from that, kind of pushing it back, as we really would like to see ourselves as perfect, and yet we keep, moving through these experiences in the illusion of this third dimensional world that is actually here to help us to deepen our connection to our human part, to understand our vulnerabilities as a human being, to understand our imperfections, and to start embracing and knowing ourselves in a greater way. And as the Pleiadians say, to come into a state of self-acceptance for who we are, for all that we are, for all that we experience ourselves to be. Because that is the next step to coming back to what I call the heart home space of natural reconnection to that divine, unique aspect of ourselves, of our God-conscious state. And the Pleiadians say that in this lifetime, we have all said yes to being here. And our mission in this lifetime is to, number one, come into a state of self-acceptance of all our humanness, our vulnerabilities, our imperfections, to know ourselves in that vulnerable state, and to start moving into that state of acceptance of that vulnerable part of our humanness. That is part of our mission in this lifetime. And when we come into a state of self-acceptance, not perfectly, but just moments of self-acceptance, just moments, then we begin to open a new dimensional space within our heart, which I call, and the Pleiadians are calling, the home space. It's where we can link back into the enlightenment process, the natural reconnection to this higher frequency of our pure source connection. This is us with conscious choice, consciously choosing a new way, a new relationship with ourselves now, right now in this lifetime. Now, the Pleiadians say the mission for us is to, yes, accept our humanness and begin to consciously reconnect and re-experience our pure source connections in this lifetime, to become enlightened. And they say we are going to be successful in this mission. Successful in this mission. Listen to that. We are going to achieve this. Take a breath. Yeah. It's a truth. It's a truth, and I'll tell you how we're going to be successful in it. Because of this new dawning era, which equals the veils lifting, the third dimensional illusion lifting, and a fourth, fifth dimensional energy anchoring on the earth plane. What this allows us to do is it makes us possible to not hold on so tight to all our human pieces of self-condemnation, of lack of forgiveness for self. It's like it loosens everything and makes it possible for us to move back into the heart space. And it's from the heart space that we can come back into a place of self-acceptance. And at the moment, things are intense. But I'll tell you why they're intense. They're intense because the third dimensional drama is magnifying, and it's doing that to enable you to get to know yourself more completely and to feel the vulnerability and to witness yourself in not so nice light that the ego mind would want to push away. But the fact is, we need to embrace, to feel out who we are. And when we get into anger, rage, that we feel that and go, okay, what part of me is afraid right now? And just get to know yourself more completely in your humanness. You see, for lifetimes we've had the illusion where we have to be perfect in order to be enlightened. And the Pleiadians say that's one of the biggest illusions that has kept us in separation. So it's about us deepening a personal relationship right now, consciously, of coming back to hold ourselves with love and compassion for everything that we've been through. I mean, we've all suffered. We've all had our journeys. We've had our moments, deep moments, and we've had a courage. We're courageous. Each one of us here are courageous in how we have moved through all the different events in our lives right now. But now is the time to turn back in a conscious way to open to a deeper and new relationship with ourselves first. A one of self-acceptance, not perfection. Self-acceptance for all that we are in our beauty, all the colours of the rainbow, whatever we are. And just hold ourselves in a deep appreciation for our uniqueness, for our idiosyncrasies. Now, when we begin that path, and it's a simple one, it's not all at once, because the ego mind will want to get it right. Okay, I'm going to do this right. So every moment I'm going to be this. No, that's what the ego mind is striving for again, perfection. And so we have to go step by step, moment by moment, and just look and be willing to feel what you are authentically in the moment. And it might be anger, it might be fear, it might feel like, you know what, you've missed out, or disappointment, or isolation, or not feeling good enough, or somehow you're bad and you don't even know what that is, or you're worrying and you don't quite even know what the worry's about. When you start to be willing to feel what's there in you and hold that as sacred, we are sacred. A sacred moment of the universe bringing something towards you in order for you to feel a vulnerability. Now, it may not be very comfortable, but when you start opening in a state of acceptance and love for the moment and just witness yourself, something amazing happens. Something miraculous can happen in that moment. Because when you're out of separation and when you're in a state of acceptance, that home space in the heart begins to open. Your heart starts to transform because you're really in the moment. No matter what it's presenting, you're there and you're with yourself. And it's in that moment that you can also start to reconnect back naturally to that sacred aspect of yourself, that God consciousness aspect. And you build consciously a new relationship with the human part that is fragile and vulnerable, yes. Imperfect, yes. And that sacred part of you that you connect through the home space of the heart supports that human part. It also opens a doorway for you to be able to start seeing more clearly what are your options. Some of us right now feel like we're in a space where we have no options, where we're stuck. We're almost in a prison in our situation. There's no way out. That's what the ego mind will tell you over again. There's no way out. I am stuck here. And the fact is that is a third-dimensional illusion. So if you're willing to come into the moment and feel the depth of your joy, your pain, your anguish, or whatever life is magnifying to you, reflecting to you that's already inside of you for you to experience, then you can open in that moment to another aspect, that sacred aspect that is unlimited in its ability to open up doors for you to make the changes you need for yourself right in this moment, right now. That's what this is about. It's about changing a sacred relationship, building a sacred relationship, re-entering a sacred alliance with your own divine aspect. That is unlimited, that has a natural abundance and openness to provide to each one of you, you realigning back to that sacred part of yourself. It's a simple process, and it's so simple that the human being, third dimensionally, the ego mind, can't accept that we are magnificent, that we are unlimited. And it sounds just like empty words because they've been said a long time. And many of us don't believe in our own magnificence. And no wonder. We've had lifetimes of feeling small and insignificant and out of control and victims. That's what we've had. And now we're breaking out of the shell. But it's got to be done consciously. And that's what I was thrilled about this topic today, because, the topic of this community has been going for, I think, 5 weeks. I'm entering at this phase. But it's about consciously making a choice. With the veils lifting, the support is here for you to come back into a reality, a non-victim state of being with your humanness and supporting yourself in your lives now. And it's not about, oh gosh, I'm scared, I'll have to choose this and choose that and get rid of this and get rid of that. No, it starts with a small decision to change one moment, to do something differently. It doesn't mean you have to kind of, all right, X everyone out of my life and leave my job and do this and do that. No. With one small decision, changing one element in your life, there's an incredible, powerful domino effect that takes place over your entire world through one choice of doing something differently. Just one. And it brings, you'll feel the power of joy that enters you when you choose, when you make one choice for you, one decision in favor of yourself. Because sometimes we live our lives and it's in favor of everyone but us. And the fact is that has to be over. We have to start choosing differently and choosing in favor of ourselves. And that can be scary. It can be scary because we've played out a role. See yourself on a stage like you're the main player. I'm my main player here. Guess what? You're in the audience. But I am in my main role. And on this stage, I'm the main player, the lead actor, and everyone else on my stage in my world are just props. We all have a main stage. Now start looking at who's on your stage with you and how you're playing out on your stage. You can shift your props. And you don't have to do it in a way of getting rid of everyone on your stage. That goes from one extreme to another extreme. Disaster. But you can change a way that you interact in one moment with an individual that you've had a play out with. This maybe a so-called friend who's always makes you feel a little uncomfortable and less than when you've been with them. That always got a look or a comment or a word that isn't quite supportive. But if you brought it to them and said, oh no, but every time it's the same. There's this innuendo. There are people in our lives and we play out. We're not victims. We are playing our role. So the first part of changing things is changing the dynamic with ourselves. This self-acceptance shifts, even for one moment. If you do that once a day, you'll find your world will start to shift. Your relationships with other people will change. And suddenly doors will open and opportunities come in to support your changing attitude and role with yourself. Because one moment magnifies 1,000-fold. Just one moment of choosing differently for yourself gives a message out to the universe, and you get a reflection back of that which you choose for yourself. And that's what I'm talking about. Consciously beginning to choose a different way of relationship with yourself in the world. And then as you do that, that home space begins to open, and you start to open and feel the joy, the natural joy of alignment to, again, that sacred part of yourself that you're all reconnecting to. It's a reconnection, a natural reconnection that's waiting to be made. And it can only be made when you're true to yourself in the moment. So choose one thing, one moment a day, and start rebuilding this authentic relationship with yourself. Everything stems from here. Everything can be sourced from the home space through this changing relationship with you in the moment. So this is, to me, and the Pleiadians are saying, this is our key focus is here within the home space of ourselves. And when we start this new, authentic, conscious relationship with ourselves, which is supported by the whole universe, by the way, it's all there waiting for us. The doors are waiting to open. It takes one movement from your side for 1,000 openings. It's like one step is 1,000 steps forward, because you'll never be the same again. When you choose yourself, the energy in every cell of your body will transform. You'll actually start your own self-healing process physically in your body as you change or choose to change this relationship with yourself on subtle levels, but not so subtle levels. And when I was taken off planet for those 9 hours, and I came back and I was in those higher realms witnessing a relationship to the light. I had a deep understanding before that time, and deep individual kind of direct experiences with spirit, with the Pleiadians, but I was put into another setting of truth that illuminated what I thought I knew to a whole new level. And so when I came back, it was like seeing the world differently. And I was different. And so I know I hold another frequency of that truth. And with that, of course, came a very much deeper alignment to the Christ energy and to Mother Mary. And years ago, when I was really, I had gone through an awakening, and I was on the Sea of Galilee. I'd been told to stand there, and the form of Jesus Christ came across the water towards me. I mean, it was an unbelievable experience at that time, a pure experience that has never left me. And when he got to me, I was just like I was sobbing on the ground, filled with this love of Christ. And I expected these really beautiful, soft words to come from him. And actually he said, when are you going to take yourself off the cross? When are you going to resurrect yourself? You've put yourself on this cross, and you're the only one who can take yourself off. That was a big truth. It was in that moment I realized I still had condemned myself for so much. And it was from that day on, of course, a turning point in my life. So it's about this new form of relationship that we are all being supported in right now energetically on the planet, with the lifting of the veils. And there are a series of veils lifting every 2 weeks now, a 10-second period. The veils lift, and in that 10 seconds, we are moved from the illusion, and we have an opportunity to more than glimpse a truth, the truth of ourselves, and we transform. That's why there's such an acceleration of the drama coming up with all of us, because of this lifting of the veils. And it's going to continue until December 29th. Leading into the new year, we have what the Pleiadians call this force of light coming onto the planet that is going to support the illumination of yourself. It's going to hold a frequency that has not been on this planet up to this time. And this is the time for each one of you to do your work to leading to the first of the year, where this energy will start flowing onto our planet. And it's designed to not only support you in your humanness, in self-love, but it's designed to link you, reconnect you much more easily to your own pure source connection of your higher self. So as you build your relationship to yourself and start opening into this state of acceptance, self-acceptance. I like acceptance rather than forgiveness. For me, forgiveness has been a word that is another thing that has really kept us in a place where we have to forgive. You know, what is it? It's divine. In order to forgive you, it's a divine peace. And to me, forgiveness is a really a word that is not a truth. Reconciliation is a very good word. But if you want to try and forgive someone who's hurt you a lot, and you try and try and try, it doesn't work. Because what you're doing is you're putting the onus on them instead of taking responsibility for your part in the experience, in the relationship. None of us are victims. We've all said yes to having experiences on our stage of being abandoned, rejected, to being betrayed. I mean, we've had it all. We've all played out our roles. Some of us have betrayed and then been betrayed. You know, we've been perpetrator and victim. This is how we've played out all our lifetimes. But that is over now. The karma has been lifted off the planet. And this is in order for us to fulfill our mission of enlightenment in this lifetime, of coming back into a state of reconnection. But this has never been done before, this relationship with reconnecting to our humanness in a new way, developing a new relationship to ourselves from a third dimensional separated state to a fourth, fifth dimensional love and compassion and acceptance of this human element that we are. That's who we are. But then we have the other part of ourselves too. That divine part. That pure source, unlimited aspect that is ready to come in and have this reconnection. But we're not separated. It's not separated from us. We have shut off from our sacred source. Our sacred source is still there working with us, supporting us in this journey. But when you start to make a conscious choice of relationship with that pure source connection, everything accelerates, everything transforms. And now we're ready for this. With that karma lifted off, and it's been lifted off since January. We're nearly at the end of the year. The veils have been lifting since June 16th this year. And that's been every 3 weeks until the 1st of November. Now it's every 2 weeks leading into December. We've got a force of light, of energy supporting each one of us in consciously starting to reach out and align to that pure source connection through our home space. The home space opens, remember, when you choose to accept yourself for one moment at a time. Self-acceptance, changing that relationship, and then building the sacred relationship with that pure source connection, that unlimited part of yourself that carries that full abundance that is your natural birthright. And this is where we're being asked to move, is to start building that connection, that flow into that abundance of our pure source energy. And it's totally possible now. All the barriers have been lifted. But what we need to do, as I said, is to consciously open and align to that sacred connection. It's a reconnection. It's nothing new. It's just reaching to that part of yourself that is the sacred part, the holy part. that God consciousness part. And as you do that, your relationships will expand outwards to other human beings naturally. As you let go and open into self-acceptance, guess what? Your judgments of others won't be there. The universal mirrors you're getting right now are just mirroring to you everything you haven't accepted inside of yourself, that you've refused to allow to be part of your sacred relationship with this vulnerable human being that you are, that I am. It equals freedom, liberation. When you let go of your need, you know, that need to keep proving that you're right, instead of just being who you are in the moment. Nothing to prove. No need to be right. That burden lifts off you, and it's a liberating moment. And there's freedom. And in that freedom, the home space opens further. And you start to be able to align into that free-flowing abundance of clarity, of understanding, of knowingness, of truth. All that confusion of the ego mind, all the energy goes from the ego mind down here to where the peace and the understanding really abide for every one of us, so that you can really breathe, let go, and settle and receive yourself. And you can rest in that relationship, that authentic relationship of truth, of who you are. We deserve that now. We're ready for that now. And the scene is set. Our stage can change and transform as we take a moment's step, just one step at a time, choosing consciously those changes and choosing for us, choosing for you, making the choices for you. Not anyone else, because guess what? They get to choose for themselves. And when you try, and prop someone up or do something for someone else, you're enabling that person to stay the way they are. You're playing out a role, a pre-agreed role, but it's time to drop some of those negative pre-agreement roles. They don't serve the person, they don't serve you. And in your mind, you think, oh yes, I'm doing this great favor for this person. And actually you're not, because inside there's something screaming at having to do that and be that for somebody else. And it all gets twisted up in relationship. But if you step back free and clear and feel you and let that person, honor them enough, respect them enough to be how they need to be, who they need to be in the moment, let them play out their role. But you do no longer participate, because it's not a truth. It's not a relationship based on truth or authenticity. And we need to move back into a state of authenticity within ourselves. And then we can step out into the world and carry a frequency that supports everyone else to do what they need to do and honor them in the moment for all that they are. That's truly honoring another individual. So when you honor and change the relationship within yourself, you automatically have a deeper, more authentic relationship for all other human beings around you. And then when your home space opens more and more completely through the authenticity of the moment, you start to feel that reconnection to the pure source connection, and your understanding, your clarity, doors open, things flow, and you begin to work consciously with that pure source connection as well. We have relationship with ourselves, relationship with our humanness, relationship with our pure source connection. We have relationships with soul connections here on this earth plane, with people who you have pre-agreed to awaken together and to witness each other in this awakening. We have soul groups where groups of people come together to be truly authentic and seen for who they are, authentic, and witnessed in our reconnections, our birth to our pure source connection, to that God consciousness, and then to come together in that God consciousness, in our uniqueness, the pure uniqueness of who we are, and we empower each other in those relationships. There's no competition because it doesn't exist. We're all magnificent. We're all equally unique. And we bring our unique frequency signature of the divine to each other. And through that, we empower all the human beings on this earth plane. And then with soul groups or individually, we connect also to the God consciousness, to the universal community. And we take our place back. We fit back into that mandala like a jigsaw puzzle, like a jeweled mandala. We are one jewel in that mandala. And we have a relationship to fulfill to the whole. And as we begin to open into our home space, guess what? Our piece, our place in that jeweled mandala begins to light up, begins to awaken. And we come home fully and take our place within that whole. This is our destiny. This is your destiny. But it's time to look at it and consciously start reassessing your relationship to your own human part. Not fixing things. You don't need to be fixed. You're perfectly imperfect as you are. Celebrate your imperfection. Celebrate your uniqueness. Celebrate your vulnerability. And hold yourself in that love and that compassion. Lifetimes we've been separated. But not now. The Pleiadians saying that in our lifetime, that's all of us here, we will be successful in our mission. Remembering the relationship, the conscious relationship starts here and then transmits out. You have to know, I'm here today and I travel the world and I'm working, but I'm always here, committed to myself in the moment and being as authentic as I can with my human aspect, and at the same time aligned to that pure source connection. And in that I unfold. This is not a selfless job. I'm totally selfish in every moment, and that enables me to align and be with you all and to carry the frequency of that truth and that love authentically in the moment, in every moment. That's my commitment. Not perfectly, especially as a human being, but that's okay. And these days, this human part of myself that has its own moments of separation is supported and felt so loved by that pure source connection of myself that is so present these days. So it's the time, everyone, for this conscious change. And I know some of you are on that path. But sometimes we need to hear it again. It's so important. It's so important to allow this authenticity of yourself. Just witness today moments where you choose in favor of yourself. We've been taught to be selfish, that we should be, or selfless, that we should be, always thinking of someone else and always giving to somebody else. I mean, we've been really blindsided by all this illusion for lifetimes. But the most selfless act is to be here, is to be authentic. Because then you can be automatically authentic in your relationships and truly loving with others. And that is really where we are right now in that energy. And we are so supported by the rest of the universal community. The energies are set for us to have our homecoming. Your homecoming. That you're waiting, just your pure source energy, that higher self energy, God consciousness, unlimited energy is waiting to come in, to be invited in, for you to reach and open and allow yourself to align to that authenticity of yourself. Let's just take a breath right now, and I'm just going to transmit some sounds just to allow yourself to open and breathe through the cells of your body. Remember, every cell in your body carries that frequency that supports you in this sacred realignment, in authenticity to yourself. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring in some sounds, and just almost like standing under a shower, just let yourself receive the essence of the light in the sounds. This is going to be transmitted of light with the Pleiadians, and I'm just going to transmit this sound through. That's it. Take another breath and just let go. That's it. That letting go energy that moves through you allows you to let go of all the old illusion and the burdens that you have been carrying for yourself. All the things you should have done or should have said or should have been. Just take a breath and letting all of that go. As I just transmit another level of that letting go energy. The Shatai, the Shehom Daine A, the Sheom, the Sheom, the Sheom, the Shataine A, Heo, the Sheom. So I wish to give thanks to spiritual energies of Mother Mary, the Christ energy, the Pleiadian energies, for their love, support, this morning. So be it. Thank you, everybody.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here. And I have a new song I wrote recently that I'm very pleased to be able to debut here. You'll be the first group that I've given this song to. It's called "In My Being." There's a peace in my being. There's a peace here, the wind blows. There's a peace in my being. There's a peace here, the river flows. I've been searching, wondering if something was wrong. Now I find you right here within, all along. There is a joy in my being. There is a joy here, the birds soar. There is a joy in my being. There is a joy here like never before. I've been searching, wondering if something was wrong. Now I find you right here within, all along. In the space of the heart, love, in the space of the infinite, in the space of the pure innocence, I decide to reside. There's a silence within me. There's a silence, the nightfall. There's a silence within me. There's a silence where I am all. No more searching. There's nothing that I need to know. Life has found me, and I rejoice to be in its flow.
How beautiful. And we have the energies of Mother Mary here. Her love holding each one of us. And the beauty of the Christ light here, blessing each one of us so that we can step forward and open up to this new conscious relationship, to our divine element and to our humanness. We're being held. Pleiadians are saying we are being held in this love, in this light, We are accepted and loved for all that we are in this moment. And we're being asked to open up and accept ourselves with love in this moment of time. Ekoshata I, she om da ine a, she om, she o. So be it. Ho. I'm going to be available. Whoop.